What you just witnessed was an intro edited by me in Sony Vegas Pro 11, and it took me a good 3+ hours or so to make. And I know it wasn't that spectacular, but god damn it, I put a lot of work into that, and I'm really happy with it. So I'm probably going to be using that until I get bored with it, or until I make another one, or something to that effect. Anyway, what's going on, guys? Ryan here. Today I have a Pokemon Black 2, White 2 OU battle. Had it on Showdown, of course, the Showdown ladder, because that's where I go. The reason this team is different is because it's new, and the reason my name is different is because I like to test my new teams on a new account to learn how to use them, so that I don't lose points on my main. So yeah, the guy, not the guy, but I don't know what's up with the Showdown replayer, but it keeps putting me on the opposite end of the battle. So the guy with the Lucario and stuff, that's me, and he's got the Gliscor and things and stuff. But whatever. Anyway, this team was based around a Swords Dancing Lucario. It's running dual priority, which is a bit weird, in the form of E-Speed and Bullet Punch. And it's got Swords Dance and Close Combat. Got a Scarf Celebi. Standard offensive Starmie with Rapid Spin. Lumberry Dragonite with Dragon Dance, because I've never used that before, surprisingly. Got a specially defensive Rotom Wash and a bulky Pivot Switch Landorus for rock support. And yeah, this team is actually pretty good. It just took some getting used to, but I finally did, and I like it. So looking at his stuff, nothing really pops out as an immediate threat. If I can get rid of his 2 steel types, then I can probably just sweep with Dragonite. But we'll see where it goes. So let's go ahead and click the play button. Now, he leads off with Gliscor, and I decided to lead off with Rotom, because that's pretty much the most versatile lead in the game, as we all know. He goes for Sub, though, which is weird, because I could have just, if I was offensive, I would have outsped him, and I probably would have taken him out. But I go straight for Hydro Pump, not wanting to play with this Gliscor. And he obviously doesn't know my item yet, because I could just be Choice Specs with or the bulky attacker variant. Either way, I'm going to go straight for Hydro Pump again, as he brings in the Ferrothorn to resist, which is a good play. Can't really complain there. So now, I'm going to go ahead and burn this thing as opposed to anything else, because it'll just neuter it as a threat later on and save me a lot of grief. So that's what I do, go straight for Will-O-Wisp. Thankfully, I don't miss, as he decides to go for Leech Seed as opposed to setting up hazards or whatever, which is fine with me. So now I figured Landorus would be a great switch, simply because he really can't do anything to me, even if he has Power Whip or Gyro Ball or whatever, because I do have the Intimidate and he is burned. So that's what I do, as he actually goes for Toxic. That's a very weird move on a Ferrothorn. I haven't really seen that before outside of like Ubers, but it works out for him, I guess, as he is able to cripple my Landorus, as I'm just going to set up the Stealth Rock as he goes for Leech Seed again. That's fine though. Don't really care, and yeah, Toxic Ferrothorn, that is something. So at this point he's shown me Toxic and Leech Seed. I'm assuming he's got the Protect, so I'm going to switch out into Lucario just to threaten it out, because it's a Ferrothorn and this is a Lucario, so I clearly have the advantage here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and double switch, predicting him to bring in something that resists fighting, like Gliscor or Latios. You know, they could both resist fighting and probably threaten me out. But no, he stays in and goes for Leech Seed again as I switch into Starmie, trying to get the upper hand on his potential switch-ins. I hate it when that happens, I really do. But maybe he just predicted my overprediction. So I'm going to go back into Lucario now, as he is going to try to Toxic my Starmie, which is questionable because it does put pressure on me about staying in, but at the same time, I shouldn't be staying in on a Ferrothorn, and I do have the Natural Cure, so that was weird. But either way, I'm going to go straight for Close Combat this time, because maybe he's just going to not predict, but this time he actually does go into the Gliscor, which is a pretty good play. Now, if I had Ice Punch, I probably could have gone ahead and destroyed this thing, but I don't have Ice Punch, and I do have a Celebi, which can switch in, and then go from there, because I do have the Natural Cure, and so on and so forth. So I bring in the Celebi, as he does decide he's going to go for Earthquake as opposed to anything else, which is fine with me. And now I'm assuming he's going to switch, because this is a Celebi, and I mean, I have Leaf Storm. Even if I wasn't offensive, he really had no business staying in, but it works out for him here as I'd missed the Leaf Storm, and he's able to get off a really heavy hit with that Ice Fang, which is not exactly common on Gliscor, but again, to each his own. So I'm going to switch here into Rotom because I can resist the Ice Fang, and I don't really care if this gets toxic or not. I'm probably not going to need it. But he opts to switch into Scizor, which is okay, I guess. I mean, it was a double, so can't complain. He's going to outspeed me and go for U-turn, and just looking at that damage, he is definitely Choice Banded. He might have speed EVs because he did outspeed my Rotom, but I'm not sure, you know, what speed bulky Rotom hits. Anyway, gonna go straight for Hydro Pump, hit the Ferrothorn, get a crit that really doesn't come into play at all, as you guys will see in just a bit. Either way though, I could outspeed him and Volt Switch out, but instead I'm just gonna Hard Switch straight into Celebi, predicting the Leech Seed, and I can also deal with Toxic, which is fine. So yeah, that's what I do, as now I'm predicting him to go for Toxic on my Celebi, which could have HP Fire, but I guess he's just trying to fodder the Ferrothorn at this point. Either way, predicting the Toxic, I'm going to go into Lucario to be immune and threaten it out again. And because he's trying to fodder this thing off, I'm actually going to take this opportunity to set up a Swords Dance in his face, as he is going to reveal here his final move, which is, of course, Seed Bomb. He has a Seed Bombing Ferrothorn. I don't know why, but that's what he has. So yeah, I guess I can kind of see that because it doesn't miss, but Power Whip would still probably be the better option. Anyway, I'm going to Swords Dance again, predict, because he's staying in. He's not switching or anything. And that's not bad because he's trying to Death Fodder this thing, but at the same time, he's letting me set up for free, so may as well take my chances. This turn I know he's going to protect because he Leech Seeded me, so I'm just going to set up to +6. And now I've got a +6 Lucario staring him in the face. And this thing could definitely do some work against his team. So, I'm going to take this opportunity to go for close combat, and I do get a crit, but it really doesn't matter. And the Ferrothorn was way too low, and this is a +6 stab close combat from a Lucario. Something's going to die. That's just the way it works. As now he's going to go into Scizor. Now, for some reason, I thought he might live in E-Speed. I don't know whether or not he could have, but I figured he could, so I take this opportunity to switch out into Landorus, not wanting to lose my Lucario just yet, because I know that his Bullet Punch will definitely kill me, and if it doesn't, the Leech Seed will. So I just Intimidate it with Landorus, as that still does a 28%, so I know now he's definitely got to be banded. There's no other explanation for him doing that much damage. So I'm just going to U-turn, expecting him to switch, but he doesn't switch at all. He just sits there with the Scizor, which can't do anything about it. So now I go into Dragonite, and he makes the good play, goes for Bullet Punch, breaks my Multiscale, as I'm going to set up a Swords Dance. I mean, not a Swords Dance, excuse me, a Dragon Dance. And I'm going to go for Earthquake here, not wanting to mess around with this thing and take any more Bullet Punches, as he predicts that and goes into Latios, dodges that Earthquake with the Levitate, as you do. And now every bone in my body is screaming, go for E-Speed, he's probably Scarfed, go for E-Speed, he's probably Scarfed. But I don't go for Extreme Speed, I go for Outrage, and of course he is Choice Scarf, and he is easily going to destroy my Dragonite with the Draco because his Scizor did break my Multiscale. So now I go into Celebi because I figure I can get off a U-turn and get the momentum back in my favor, as that is indeed what happens. He goes into the Scizor, and I really don't know why he did that because I could have HP Fire. I do have HP Ice though, but he doesn't know that. Anyway, I figure now the best switch in I have is Starmie, simply because I do outspeed, I can go straight for Hydro Pump, I know it'll kill from that range, and I resist the Bullet Punch, so it really won't be doing too much critical damage to me. Unless, of course, he got a crit, ha ha ha. Anyway, he's going to go into Rotom Wash now, and because of the obvious way he's playing, I'm actually going to be that guy that switches in a ground type on a Rotom, and it works out beautifully, as he is going to go for Volt Switch, trying to hit my Starmie super effectively and get some momentum. Doesn't work out though, as I'm able to just be immune to that with Landorus, and as you can see, because I do get leftovers first, I am faster. So now is a great time to go for U-turn, get off some nice damage on the Rotom, and I know he's more than likely this turn going to go for a Hydro Pump, not wanting to play around with this Landorus anymore. So that works out beautifully as well, He does go straight for Hydro Pump. I come in with my Rotom and resist that very nicely. And now I'm just going to go ahead and take this opportunity to go for Pain Split because I don't think he can kill me with anything he has. And I get up to almost half, 48%, which is really good, as he does Volt Switch out this turn. Now, because he Volt Switch, he is going to get the momentum, and he opts to go into his Gengar, which is a good play. I respect that. But now, because Rotom is such a specially defensive beast, I figure I can live one unboosted Shadow Ball, and I do live with 1% HP. Rotom putting in some work as I'm going to go for the Volt Switch and get the Switch Initiative. And here I figure Gengar is actually pretty frail, so I'm assuming a Life Orb Stab Bullet Punch from a Lucario would be enough to take it out. I am running Jolly Nature though as opposed to Adamant, so I go for BP. Sadly does not KO him because I'm Jolly instead of Adamant, but it's whatever. He goes for Focus Blast, and sadly for me he doesn't miss, so I am going to lose Lucario here, but it's fine because now I can definitely go into Starmie and threaten that thing out quite easily because Starmie just naturally outspeeds Gengar. Now, I'm going to go for Ice Beam just in case he wants to switch because nothing he has left, not even Rotom, would appreciate an Ice Beam at the range of health it's at. So that's what I do, as he does just leave in the Gengar, figuring he's going to die to Rocks anyway if he switches out, which is a good play. And now he goes into his Rotom. Now, again, I feel the need to be that guy that switches in a Landorus on a Rotom, but at this point it's just for death fodder, as he actually goes for Will-O-Wisp as opposed to anything else. And now I figure I can probably kill him with a Stone Edge from that range, or at least get him really low to a point where Celebi can easily kill him, so I'm just going to go for the Stone Edge, but unfortunately I am going to miss, and he is going to hit a Hydro Pump, and down goes Landorus. But not all is lost just yet because I have a plan. I figure he's probably not going to switch out the Rotom, simply because it does kind of threaten my remaining guys. So I'm just going to go straight into Celebi and go straight for Leaf Storm as opposed to anything else. I don't know if he saw that coming, but either way, he leaves in the Rotom, so I'm going to get a Attack Drop, which is fine, it's whatever, as now he goes into Gliscor. And I mean, I figure a -2 Leaf Storm has a chance to kill him, so I go for it. But sadly, I only do 47%, but he actually tries to sub, predicting my switch. Doesn't work out for him though, as I'm able to just go ahead and fire off another Leaf Storm, because he won't appreciate the Rocks damage if he switches out, and he could resist it with Latios, but I do have other things, and it is a choice Latios. So that's what I do, go for Leaf Storm and take out the Gliscor. All that's left is Latios, and really no matter what he locks himself into, I pretty much have this game in the bag. So I opt to switch out and fodder off my Rotom. It is at 1%, and I can deal with him from there. And it turns out he goes for T-Bolt. So he's got a T-Bolting Latios, which is, again, different, but to each their own. So now I'm going to go into Celebi, and it's pretty much game at this point because Celebi has some nice natural bulk, and I do have HP Ice like I said earlier, so I go for it, and it turns out he's Modest Scarf because I do outspeed, because I'm Timid Scarf. And yeah, just go for 2 HP Ices. He doesn't get a crit, he doesn't get a para, and I take out the Latios, and that is going to be good game. So, good game, View Headlines. You had some interesting stuff, and it was definitely different, but I respect the fact that you were a good sport, and it was really an interesting kind of battle. You know, it was different, but it wasn't bad. So, yeah. I think that'll about do it for this video, guys. Remember to leave this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, tell your friends, and that kind of thing, and leave me a comment. So, that's going to be all from me, and I'll catch you guys next time.